Hello, welcome to our unique learning system language arts lesson. My name is Charlotte Lucas. I am an autism low incidence mentor teacher with Richmond Public Schools. I provide support to our classroom teachers for our students across all four content areas, and I am so happy to be able to work with you today. The name of our lesson today is Light Waves on the Move. First, I will give a summary of Chapter 1, the Spring Play. I will go over some vocabulary. We'll do a picture walk of the new book. I'll read the book to you. We will discuss some story elements and then we'll answer some questions. We have a lot to do, so let's get started. Let's review Chapter 1. Chapter 1 was the book, The Spring Play. And in that book, we met with our story characters, which were Kara, Gavin, Dale, and the teacher, Miss Thomas. In this book, Miss Thomas was letting the students know that they were going to be rehearsing for a play, and she gave them an opportunity to talk about what was sound and light used for the stage. Some of the vocabulary we used for that book was theater. When you think about theater, you probably think about a movie theater. This is the same type of theater, except when you go to a play, it is live. There are no recordings. It's done in a theater such as this, where you become a part of the audience. We talked about the lights in the theater. There is someone who takes care and regulates and manipulates the lights backstage. There is someone who manipulates the sound backstage. There's someone who coordinates everyone who's working backstage, a stage manager. The setting is on the stage with the actors, and they are going to set the scene. They will give us the setting of the story. There are props that are used, and the props are designed to let you know the time and the place of where the story is happening. Also, this is a great example of actors on the stage with props, the chairs, the couch, the tables, even the setting design, the steps, the fact that it looks as if they're in a house. All of that is done on the stage for you to have a wonderful experience when you go to see a play. Now, when we want to define what a play is a story acted out on a stage, and it's live. Any mistakes, there are no do-overs. It's a live performance. All right. The other things that we talked about on last week were story elements. The elements that we are focusing on are characters, setting, problem, and solution. The characters are the people in the story. The setting is where the story takes place. And a story that is a nonfiction story does not have a problem, but a fiction story has a problem and a solution. In this, when we're reading a book, we always try to figure out what type of book are we reading? Are we reading a fiction book or a nonfiction book? The fiction book is not real. It's a story. It has a beginning, middle, and end. It has a character, setting, problem, and solution. A nonfiction book is real talk. There are facts. You're learning new things. There's photos, there's charts, there's graphs. The information is true and is designed to teach you, for you to walk away having learned something new. All of that leads us back to our new chapter, chapter 2. In chapter 2, we are the title is Light Waves on the Move. And some of the vocabulary that we'll be using in chapter 2 is opaque. Something that is opaque, light will not pass through it. This particular panel here, light will not pass through this panel. It's opaque. The other vocabulary that we're going to be using is translucent. If you have something that's translucent, some light will pass through, but not all. You're not able to see directly through. You can see some, but not all the way through. And the last vocabulary word is transparent. If something is transparent, you can see through it. Something like glass. All right. One of my favorite words that vocabulary words in the book is firefly. Now, when I was a child, we called fireflies lightning bugs. And at night in the spring and summertime, we would go out and collect lightning bugs, put them in a jar. Now, it's a fun thing to do. Don't put them in a jar. That's not nice. All right, let's take a minute and let's do a picture walk through our book, Light Waves on the Move. And if we look at the title page, it looks like this young man is looking for something. And these are waves. Now, the purpose of our picture walk is just to look at the pictures, not read, and see what we think the book might be about. And here we see another picture of waves, the sun, and the light from a lamp, this light from a candle, and the light from a lightning bug. All right. The next picture is the young man again on stage. Maybe the light is too bright and he's using his hand to block the light. Your hand is opaque. So if you put your hand up to the light, it will block the light from getting in your eyes. Now, this is an example of another opaque. The light cannot go through those very thick curtains. So the person behind the curtain cannot feel or see the light. And here we are on stage where lights are being used to light up the stage so the people in the audience can see the act. Now, we can see that here's some other examples of how light can pass through something that is transparent, like a light bulb or a plastic bottle. And we also see three good examples of opaque. Light will not pass. This light will not pass through that at all. That is an opaque block. This light passes through some of the light passes through. That's translucent. And on this one, the light is passing all the way through, and that is transparent. All right, we've done a nice picture walk through the book. Let's take a moment and discuss the types of questions that you have in the book, because if you read the questions first before you read the book, you will have a good idea of what you're looking for so that you will be prepared. You will have a purpose for reading. So we're going to look at the type of questions that they have, so we will know what to look for when we're reading. We have a question. The first question would be, blank are made of energy. So what is made of energy? Next question is, the blank will give off light for the play. The student's hands blank the light waves. Some light moves through the thin blank, and you will have choices to make to help decide what that possible answer is. Light can blank through some objects. The next type of question that you'll be answering is a multiple choice, where you will be able to read the question and then circle or tap on A, B, or C. The question number one is, what is this chapter about? We want to remain focused. What is this chapter about? What will give off light for the play? What did the student's hands do to the light waves? What does some light move through? What is important to know about this chapter? We have to keep that in mind as we're reading. And then another type of question that we're going to be answering, that we've just started answering just lately, is a question that has multiple answers. When you read the directions, and it's always very important to read the directions before you start answering questions, it says these questions may have more than one correct answer. So when you're reading the questions, if you get one answer, look again, there may be two answers. And you are correct, completely correct if you get all of the correct answers. So, what do students stand behind? What is the thin curtain? What are light waves more? What can light waves move through clearly? What are some things that are transparent? And the last one, what do the students learn about light? Now, another type of question that we've been answering lately are fill in the blanks, where you have no multiple choice. You're just asked a question, you need to fill in the blank with the answers that is in your head. That's the way we used to do it when I was coming up. We didn't have multiple choice. So it would say blank is made up of little pieces of energy called photons. So what is made up of little pieces of energy called photons? Now, with these types of fill in the blank, you would probably want to go back to the text to see if you can find the answers. Number two, light waves can come from the blank. Number three, the stage lights are very blank. Number four, the students cover their blank with their hands. Number five, things that are blank can block light waves. Things that are blank can block light waves. All right, let's take a moment, get to our story, and get ready to read. The name of our story is Light Waves on the Move. Mrs. Thomas meets with the class the next day. Let's learn about light, she says. Light is made up of little pieces of energy called photons. They move in waves. Light waves can come from the sun. Light comes from burning a candle. A firefly even makes its own light. The stage lights will give us light for our play. Mrs. Thomas turns on the stage lights. The stage lights are very bright. The students cover their eyes with their hands. She asks them, "Why are you covering your eyes?" "The light is too bright," says Gavin. Mrs. Thomas turns off the lights. "That's right," she says. "You can block light waves with your hand." Light waves can move through some objects, says Ms. Thomas, but light waves cannot move through other objects. Your hand blocks the light. The things that are opaque can block light waves. You can't see through things that are opaque. Your hand is opaque. The students want to know if light can move through the stage curtains. They stand behind one of the curtains. Mrs. Thomas turns on the stage lights. "Can you see the light?" asks Mrs. Thomas. "No," says Gavin. "You cannot see the light because curtains are opaque. They block the light," says Mrs. Thomas. Mrs. Thomas has the students stand behind another stage curtain. It is thinner than the first curtain. She turns on the light. Kara says she can see Mrs. Thomas, but not clearly. "The thin curtain is translucent," says Mrs. Thomas. "This means it lets some light through, but some light is blocked." "What are some things that light can move through clearly?" asks Mrs. Thomas. "Glass, like light bulbs," says Gavin. "Plastic, like a water bottle," says Kara. "That's right," says Mrs. Thomas. "Light waves move through both glass and plastic. They are transparent. You can see through them." "Now, we know that light can move through objects," says Mrs. Thomas. "It can move through some things clearly. It is blocked by other things. Sometimes only some light waves can move through an object. Tomorrow we will learn more about light. You will also get your parts for the play." Now that sounds exciting. They're learning about light, and she promises them that they'll get the parts for the play. So that story ends on a very wonderful promise. Let's see if we'll be able to answer some of the questions. Now, for this type of question, we are going to click in the box and the possible answers will come up. Sometimes when we're reading, we can do a strategy called slash and trash. You don't use that term too often, but I like it because if an answer is absolutely not the right answer, and we know it's not the right answer, there's no sense considering it. So we just slash it and trash it. So on your piece of paper, you would mark through it because you're not going to possibly use that answer. So let's see. Blank are made of energy. So block, move, light waves, stage lights, curtain. Now, if we click the correct answer, we should get a green trim around the box. If we click the wrong answer, we'll get a red trim around the box. Let's see. Blank are made of energy. Let's say, for instance, if we chose stage lights. Ah, that's the wrong answer. The box around that is red. Let's see if we can find the correct answer. Blank are made of energy. Let's try light waves. Light waves are made of energy. That's the right answer. The box is green. Next question, number 2. The blank will give off light for the play. Now, we're talking about the play. Let's see what possible answers we have. The block, move, light waves, stage lights, curtain. Since we're talking about the stage play and we're talking about light, what on the stage will give off light? I'm thinking stage lights. What do you think? Let's give it a try. The stage lights will give off light for the play. That's correct. Excellent. Number 3, the student's hands blank the light wave. I remember that one. Let's see what our possibilities are. Block, move, light waves, curtain. So the student's hand block the light waves, move the light waves. Light waves wouldn't fit in there and curtain wouldn't fit. So it's between these two. The student's hand block or move the light waves. I believe we remembered saying that our hands were opaque and it would block the light waves. The light will not pass through. Let's try that answer. Correct. The student's hands block the light waves. Excellent. Next question. Some light moves through the thin blank in the story. What are our possibilities? Block, move, light waves, stage light, curtains. Some light moves through the thin. Let's try curtain. I remember that. Excellent. We got that one right. Some light moves through the thin curtain. And number 5, light can blank through some objects. Light can block, move, light waves, stage lights. Light can blank through some objects. Light can, let's try move. Excellent. Light can move through some object. All right, we did a really good job with that. Let's see the other types of questions that can be asked when you're doing an assessment. Now, for this one, your answers are A, B, or C, and you would tap on, because this is interactive, but if this were a piece of paper, you would just circle your answer. Okay, let's see what we can get. What is this chapter about? Let's think about it. Is it about light waves, echoes, curtains? Well, I know we did not read the word echoes at all when we were reading this book. So this is a slash and trash. We will not consider that as a possibility. So let's go back. What is this chapter about? Light waves or curtains? Well, It talked about curtains, but it was talking mostly about light waves. Let's give that a try. Excellent. We got a green box. What is this chapter about? Light waves. Number 2, what will give off light for the play? What will give off light for the play? That's important. Let's see. Fire, stage lights, candles. I think we can get rid of one of these. They never mentioned fire in our story. And I don't think we want an open fire on a stage. So let's slash and trash A. We will not use that as a possibility. What will give off light for the play? Stage lights or candle? Well, in the book, I remember stage lights was very, very important. Let's try stage lights. What will give off light for the play? Stage lights. Excellent. Number 3, what did the students' hands do to light the waves? What did the students' hands do to the light waves? If we read it right, it has a little bit more meaning. Let's try that again. What did the students' hands do to the light waves? Okay, let's see if we can get rid of one of these answers. Let's slash and trash. What did the student's hand do to the light waves? Wave, shake, or block? On this one, I think it would be really easy for us to get rid of 2 ridiculous answers here. We didn't use our hands to wave at the light waves. That is not what happened. And our hands most certainly did not shake. So we can actually slash and trash those 2 because we are very sure that those were not used. And therefore, I'm thinking, what did the students' hands do to the light waves? The students' hands blocked the light waves. What does sunlight move through? What does sunlight move through? Does sunlight move through A, curtains, the thin curtain, B, the loud microphone, C, small prop? All right. Well, we could probably get rid of B, loud microphone, because we did not discuss that when we were reading the story. So let's slash B for that one. What does sunlight move through? A, thin curtain, or C, small prop? In the story, I remember they used a thin curtain. Let's try that. Excellent. We got a green box. What does sunlight move through? Thin curtain. And number 5, what is important to know about this chapter? The author wanted you to know something. The author was very careful to mention it several times. Let's see if we picked up on it. What is important to know about this chapter? A, light can move through some objects. B, the sun does not give off light. C, curtains give off light. I think we're able to slash and trash. Are you with me? Let's see. If we start at the bottom, curtains give off light. No, that is not true. We certainly can slash and trash that. Curtains do not give off light, and we did not read that in the story. Excellent. Let's try B. The sun does not give off light. That is so wrong. We can't use that. We would not use that. So B is also wrong. And the only thing we're left with is A. What is important to know about this chapter? A, light can move through some objects. Excellent. We got a green circle. We made the correct answer. Well, that was wonderful. Let's look at some of the other questions and how we can answer those. We talked about filling in the blank. That's when you're kicking it old school, because guess what? That's the way we answered questions when I was in school. We did not have multiple choice. With these, you would read the question and you would write in the answer. Blank is made up of little pieces of energy called photons. So If we were answering these questions, we're not going to answer these today, but that is another possible way that you could be asked questions in an assessment. And the one type of assessment that we want to really focus upon today is an assessment where you are told that there are more than one possible answers. So I'm going to enlarge this just a bit so I can read it. I love this feature on this program, this unique program. I can enlarge it so we can all read it together. All right. Let's read the directions. Very important. Always read the directions before you answer the questions. These questions may have more than one correct answer. This type of assessment is happening more and more. Be prepared and always think before you move on. Because if you do not answer with all of the correct answers, you could possibly miss the whole question. So, number 6, what do the students stand behind? That's kind of easy. Let's look. They stand behind stage curtain, props, wall. Let's see what we can slash and trash. In the book, did we read anything about stage curtain? Yes, we did. Did we read anything about students standing behind props? I don't remember that. Did we read anything about students standing behind a wall? I don't remember that either. So I'm going to figure that the best possible answer is A. We were right, but I don't think these others fit. Let's try. If I'm right, we should get a red circle. Did the students stand behind props? No. Did the students stand behind a wall? No. Our first instincts were correct. Remember, guys and girls, standing on your first instincts is always a good strategy. We figured that these things, props and walls, were not even mentioned, so that couldn't possibly be it. But we know that they stood behind a stage curtain. So go with your instinct. Excellent job. Number 7, what is the thin curtain? What is the thin curtain? Is it A, ripped, B, translucent, C, new? Wow, I think this is another one that we can slash and trash and come up with an excellent answer. In the book, did we read anywhere that the curtain was ripped? I don't remember that. The curtain, I didn't read ripped. Translucent. What is the thin curtain? Translucent, and we remember when we held up the white picture, translucent means that some light passes through. You can't see all the way through it, but some light will pass through. That's translucent. So the thin curtain was translucent, or is the thin curtain new? I don't remember anywhere in the book the author mentioning that that curtain was new. So I think for this one, we're able to pick one answer because ripped was not mentioned. Let's check. We're right. Translucent was mentioned, and the thin curtain did give us the ability to have some light pass through. That's one correct answer, but I do not remember the author saying that the thin curtain was new. So I don't think C is the answer either. Let's see if we get a red mark for that one. Excellent. We were right. There is only one answer for this one also. What is the thin curtain? It's translucent. Excellent. What can light waves move through clearly? What can light waves move through clearly? In other words, you can see through it. I held this up. You can see through this. Let's see. What can light waves move through clearly? A, glass, B, wood, C, plastic. So let's see. Glass, I think that's the right answer. Excellent. Wood, picked up a piece of wood, it would probably look something like this, maybe in brown. Would you be able to see through it? No. So, would light waves move through wood clearly? I don't think so. What about plastic? If you drink a soda and you hold the plastic up, can you see through it? Let's see. We were right. Two of these answers were correct, glass and plastic. What can light waves move through? Glass and plastic. Very good. There were two answers for that. Number 9. What are some things that are transparent? So now we have to remember what transparent means. Transparent means, you're right, you can see through it. Excellent. What are some things that are transparent? A, light bulbs and water bottles. B, pizza and soda. C, cell phones and computers. Well, we know that cell phones and computers, you cannot see through them. They are not transparent. We would slash and trash that one. Excellent. Pizza and soda. Well, if I think about pizza, I know you cannot see through a pizza, but a soda, some sodas you can see through. Sprite, I think you can see through Sprite, but this question has the word and. If you can see through soda, but you cannot see through pizza, this is a wrong answer. Both of them would have to be true because of the word and. So pizza and soda, that would be a wrong answer. Light bulbs and water bottles, you can see through light bulbs, most definitely. And we have water bottles that you can see through also. So I'm thinking the best answer for this one would be A. Excellent. And I think there's only one right answer. I'm going to stand on that. I'm going to use my best good sense on that. And I'm not even going to try another one. All right, number 10. What do the students learn about light? Overall, in the whole story, what do the students learn about light? Let's see. A, light waves move through transparent objects. B, some objects block light waves. And C, light cannot move through any object. Well, let's start at the top and see what we can slash and trash. A, light waves move through transparent objects. We've used that word transparent quite a bit. Light waves move through them. That's a possible right answer. B, some objects block light waves. We talked about that. We talked about our hand blocking light waves, and we talked about wood blocking light waves. The light will not go through it. Some objects block light waves. I think we're going to keep that one. And how about light cannot move through any object? You see that word, any object? Well, light can move through some objects. So we know that C is a slash and trash. We're not even going to consider that one. So let's go back up. A, light waves move through transparent objects. I think that's the right answer. We're right. Excellent. B, some objects block light waves. I really honestly believe that that is the right answer. We learned that today. Excellent. So sometimes be very careful. Make sure you read the instructions. Sometimes you will be asked to answer questions, and sometimes there's more than one right answer. Always read your questions first. I'm sorry, always read the directions first. Well, we've gotten through all the types of test assessments that we can possibly have. Let's take a second and go back over what we've learned today, because we did a lot. We learned about, first of all, how to summarize. We took last week's lesson, chapter 1, we summarized it. We didn't tell you everything that happened in last week's story. We didn't tell you what Miss Thomas said. We didn't tell you what the other characters in the story said. We didn't tell you some of the experiences, some of the events that happened in the story. We didn't do that. So a summary is short, tells the story quickly and gets you interested, but doesn't tell every event that's in the story. And that's just fine. That's what a summary is about. Quick, short, and to the point. We did a picture walk. We learned about the types of elements in a story. We talked about the characters, the setting, problem, and solution. Those are elements in a story, and those are what we look for because we need to make a decision when we're reading a book. Is this book fiction or nonfiction? A book that is fiction is not real. It can't happen. Some of things in a fiction story can happen. Sometimes the only thing that's not real are the characters and maybe the setting. But a fiction story is not read, is for you read it for enjoyment. They have a beginning, middle, and end, character, setting, problem, and solution. A nonfiction story is a real story. It's all fact talk. You have an index sometimes, a glossary, bold letters, labels. Those are the types of things you find in a nonfiction story. So, Miss Lucas, you're saying to Miss Lucas, there were a lot of facts in that story. In that story, there was a story about the characters, but all of the facts in there were true. The teacher was telling us all good stuff. And you're right. This time, we found ourselves thinking this story could be fiction or nonfiction. That gives us a whole different category to go into. And we won't discuss that today, but you made a very good observation. Thank you. All right. And some of the other things we talked about were the types of assessments you might be given. You might be given an assessment where you get to choose a multiple choice to choose the correct answer. You might get a test where you have to fill in the blanks. That's old school, but it might happen. And then nowadays you're getting a lot of tests where there are more than one answer for the question. If you get a question like that, it is very important to try to get all of the real possible correct answers. Make sure you do some slash and trash, get rid of what you know is not true, and use what you know to be true. All right. We've done a lot today, and you have been very patient. You've done a great job. I've enjoyed myself, and I look forward to working with you again. Thank you. Bye now.